Physical traits describe what a character looks like. For instance, you might say they have blonde hair, or they're short, or they're tall, or maybe they're old. We focus solely on their appearance when we describe their physical traits. Character traits describe a character's personality, or they can tell you what type of person that character is. They can also be used to describe emotions or feelings in our characters. Some examples might be if they're happy, sad, loyal, or hardworking. Let's practice identifying some of those physical traits. If I look at the two characters here, I can say that the character on the left is tall. The character on the right is shorter. The character on the left has black hair, while the character on the right has red. I can also infer some character traits based on their appearances. So the character on the left, you can tell that she's smiling, and one of her character trait might be that she's happy. The character on the left, you can tell by the way his hands are on his hip that he might be angry. When comparing and contrasting characters, we can always use a Venn diagram to help us organize our thoughts about these characters. In this slide, you'll see an example of how on the left, I put the character traits that fit the character on the left. And on the right, I put the character traits that fit that character. When using a Venn diagram to compare and contrast two characters, the information that is specific to the two characters will go on their respective sides, while the information or the character traits that they share will go right in the middle. These characters may not seem like they share a whole lot of traits, but we can look at each character and know they both agree on.
Okay, so that is telling us about character traits. We're going to just take a minute to look at Dave, kind of recall who he is, and then we are going to think of 3 character traits. It may or may not be on this list. I just gave us something. It's the same on both sides to generate our thinking. Woo. Y'all know how spelling doesn't count much. Insecure. All right. Thank you for telling us that. Now, why would you describe Dave, Mr. Hartby, as insecure? Based on how other people, right? How other people looked at him. Okay. Any other ideas up here? Let's see. Here. What is a character trait that you would say for Dave?
I said he was impatient because like he wanted to become different right at that moment. He didn't want to wait because it takes time.
Okay. Anybody agree with Kira on that? I kind of felt like he took time. He kind of worked on some things and tried different stuff. Okay. What is something else? Nathaniel, you have one?
He's an overthinker.
Overthinker. Okay, tell me about that.
Because he's trying to impress his ex and his crush. And he doing stuff he's not supposed to be doing.
He doing stuff. He just doing stuff because he wants to impress somebody else. So he's overthinking like how necessary it is to impress her. I was waiting for you to discuss with them. Oh, creative ways to do what? To gain weight. Okay. All right. So he's creative, overthinker, insecure, concerning. Character trait of concerning. Tell me about concerning. And that kind of also fed into him being insecure. Resourceful. Tell me about it.
Because when he first started on starting being lead, he used different type of weights. I mean, that you
Thank you for going to that text.
he wasn't using as heavy weights as he started using when they started doing real world reps. Trying to
So he was changing his method to get there. What you got?
I said manipulative because he wanted to manipulate everybody to think like he was bigger.
How did he manipulate them there?
He put on an extra shirt so that he could look bigger and nobody knew.
Okay.
Dishonest.
What? Dishonest and manipulating. Wow. This doesn't sound like somebody I would want to be close to at all. Okay, tell me about him being dishonest.
He was lying and he made people believe that when he was getting bigger, but it was actually short.
Yeah, that is manipulating. That is true. He was leading them to believe he was gaining weight, but he was not gaining weight. He was putting on more clothes. All right, now that we know some traits, we're gonna analyze. When we analyze, what's going on when we analyze? Looking at it, how? Just taking it in, taking notes, okay. We need to look at it more closely, deeper. We got to get a better understanding of it. So here we are going to get a better understanding of what it looks like to analyze a character's trait, and then we'll look at analyzing Dave. Minutes.
Today we'll be going through a couple of ways that you can analyze a character in order to complete a full character analysis. The first thing you should look at
Feel
is
free
the
to take
role of the
notes.
character. Are they a protagonist or an antagonist? Are they dynamic,
There you go
static,
with those
minor,
words.
major, a foil, or perhaps a character for symbolic means? What is the importance of that character, as well as what is their position in society? By doing these, you can figure out the role they play within the text. The next thing you should look at is their motivation. What influences this character's decision? What do they value, aka find important? What are their goals, hopes, and dreams? And what are their views of the world around them? Then you should look at their actions. Their motivations will largely shape their actions, so it's important to look at their behaviour, their attitudes, and how these impact on others, or if it shows an inner struggle or conflict within the character itself. The easiest thing to analyse is the character's traits, aka their personality, what makes them flawed, their strengths and their weaknesses, and whether these change throughout the story. It is also important to note whether they are positive or negative traits and how these shape the character as they move along the plot. Relationships are also important to be able to analyse how they interact with others, how others view them and how they view others, as well as how society views that character in particular. It's important to note their family relationships, any enemies, as well as acquaintances. Most importantly is how the character develops as the story moves along. How do they change? Do they grow as a character? And what events have forced them to change? It's important to compare the character from start to finish and see how this is impacted by the conflict. Dialogue is also key to ensure you understand what they are saying, how they're speaking, as this can tell you a lot about their location, their age, as well as their social status, and how they express emotions. It's also important to create a list of quotes that the character says that you can refer back to later on. Finally, it is most important to realise the author's intention. What purpose does this character serve? What is the author trying to communicate? And does the character help convey a certain theme or idea that the author is trying to portray? Once you have developed a thorough understanding of these 8 key concepts in a character, it becomes a lot easier to write a character analysis and connect characters with the major themes and issues in the text.
Okay, so right here, we're going to look at them. Today, our focus is going to be on the character traits, and then we're going to continue to look at some of the others today as well. But that's why we started with the character traits. So the things that go into making the main character who they are. So revisiting protagonist and antagonist real quick. Which one is which? Who's the protagonist?
Protagonist is like the hero.
Okay, the hero or the main character who they are mostly talking about, usually the one that is helping or saving. And so then the antagonist is the villain or the cause of the problem. Perfect. Okay, we got it. Now, what we're going to do is I gave you another sheet. On this sheet, you're going to talk to the people at your table. And we're going to start to develop this character. We're going to analyze. So we're going to look at the character from the story, Dave, and the story Heartbeat. And we're going to fill this out. Each one has a different sheet. So you're going to talk to the people at your table when you get stuck on, I'm not sure what this means. I'm not sure what they're asking me here. That's why we're back in our small groups to be able to discuss this information. Okay? So, yep, you're writing on this paper. Make sure to put your name and date. So we have 3 different sheets for the 3 people in our groups. And yep, we are writing on it. We're going to work on this side first that has our character analysis. So we're going to take what we know about Dave. We're going to talk to our friends and we're going to start to build Dave up. What does he look like? What's going on with him? Why does he think the way he thinks? All of this information we're going to put together and see if we can analyze or get a whole deep picture of Dave. So you ready? There you go. So look at your first part. This paper, you're going to find in the text something that Dave said or something about him. And then what were those words? Right here. What examples, what the examples reveal about him. So when you find that and then you start with your first one, tell me about Dave and what in the text tells us that. We're always going to refer back to the text. And I love this one. Right here, influences. Not yet. We're going to get to the back in about 2 minutes. I'm going to have us visit that. Okay, yep, we're on this side first, where we're talking about Dave. Yep, we're talking about Dave. Now, I keep saying we're on this side first, but let's go ahead and do this so that I can let you all work independently and then I'll just come and check on you. Flip your paper over. On the back of your paper, you have a number 1, 2, 4, 3. There was some vocabulary in this story. So we're going to visit the vocabulary in a cool way with our prayer mark. Here we go. If you have a 1, this is your word. You're going to write that in the middle of your paper. Okay, I see you have a 1. Okay, if you have 2, you're writing futile, moot, and then here's 3, delirious. You can find these words on page 102 so that we can have the correct spelling. Then we're gonna jump in our story, and those words are gonna be on our sidebar. The definition is on the sidebar. Okay, so after you find the definition, write the definition there and then go back, flip it over, and we're going to analyze data.
Oh, 1 second page.
Point, all right, so. Next page. See that? Move.
Yours on the left.
That's your definition, the one that book gives us. And this Freya model allows us to be able to see the word in different ways. Okay, right here. Thanks for having me. We're going to look at that and then. Let's go back. And look at, how we can put Dave together. Or rather, break them down. Break them down into parts. Let's look at them while we are analyzing Dave. Or rather, heartbeat. Just a minute, and then we are going to discuss what's different on our papers about Dave. I know, right? It's that time of day. Okay, so right here. Everything shows analyze. Well, we know the character. That's him. Makes it easy, the title coming from that book, Heartbeat. Yeah, and remember, when we wrote our, plot, some of what we messed up on was capitalization. Heartbeat is a kind of funny word. When they're using it to talk about him, it's an uppercase H. Okay, that capitalization. And when you're talking about, oh, he has a heartbeat, that's the lowercase H. Yeah.
So I can write scheme and it looks like it also says thing. I know that means like the same thing, so can I add that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Put all of that there because as you said, in the text, it tells us directly. Personality. Yeah, uh-huh. What is there? What it means? What needs to go there? And then I'll be your last resource if you're unsure. What you got there?
Evidence, I can do like quotes.
His influence is.
Okay.
I can do quotes for the evidence.
Please, please do quotes for your evidence. Thank you. Yes, for knowing that. Get in there. Okay, now we're figuring this out. So checking on character traits. He shared with your group the character traits you used.
That's good.
Is that anything different from what you guys have? The character traits that Keith said? Anything different? No, the character traits that Keith listed, did you have anything different? No, not directly, but yeah, see, even the physical ones are character traits. So you got that. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I like that, unconfident. Okay, I was trying to see if we had a word similar to that, lacking confidence. Insecure, right? Okay, yeah, insecure, lacking confidence. Okay. Got it?